we cannot deny it's been wet for weeks and weeks, months even. Our gardens are certainly feeling it.
Yes, Ben's at the garden centre for us this morning. Morning to you, Ben. Well, it's looking very colourful, of course, but these are challenging times, aren't they, for industries that have a link to the weather?
Yeah, exactly. And as I'm sheltering under this Tasmanian tree fern and enjoying the smell of the scented lilies, people may not be feeling quite as inspired to go to their local garden centre when the weather's been as wet and as rainy and as miserable, frankly, as it has. There's plenty on offer here at this one in the Wirral. What have we got here? We've got some ranunculus plants, nice and colourful. Next to them, we've got some dianthus. Plenty of choices here at Gordale. But the point is, businesses like this rely on us getting out and spending our money, and we tend to do that when the weather's brighter and we're thinking more about gardening. In fact, here, on a wet day, sales can be down by as much as a third. That's how much of an impact it has. And when you look at the garden centre business as a whole, different products are affected in different ways. Because of the wet weather we've been having, the Garden Centre Association tells us that sales of hardy outdoor plants are down by 6% compared with last year. Sales of seeds are down by 4%. Some plants, though, have benefited. It seems we want a bit of greenery in our homes, even if we're not getting out and about as much. Sales of indoor plants have gone up by 5% compared with last year. And regardless of the weather, we do love our gardening, whether that's a window box, a small courtyard garden, or if you're lucky enough to have a full lawn. As a nation, we spend an average of more than £670 a year per household on gardening. That is quite a lot of plants. Let's speak to Peter, who is the owner here at this garden centre. Peter,
Hello,
thanks
Ben.
for having us down here this
Thanks.
morning. Does the wet weather really make that much of a difference to you as a business?
Yes, it makes quite a considerable difference, because if it's raining, we find that we have around about 30% less visitors and therefore less business on those particular days. Nice sunny day, then we get a lot more people in, and people are more inclined to do gardening.
OK. I mean, some products, presumably, you sell more of. Do people come in, are they buying more wellies?
Yeah, wellies definitely doing very well at the moment. They're really flying out. And, of course, houseplants, as you were saying earlier.
But
People are very
watering
keen.
cans, presumably, no one has any need for them
Watering
at the moment.
cans are not really the best sellers at the moment, and hose pipes are quite a bit down. So,
I mean, we've been having a look around the garden centre this morning. It's vast. How much has your business had to kind of be creative in what it offers? We've got there's a cafe round the side there, you know, there are books and all sorts. You know,
Yeah.
Is that a response to the fact that, you know, you need to keep the business going even when the weather's a bit colder and wetter?
We try to develop a year-round business. Therefore, we do have things like giftware, clothing, wellies, as you mentioned earlier, and books, etc. We've got a lovely cafe, so people can come here on wet days and still enjoy quite a nice day out.
You've been running this place since the 1970s.
I'm afraid so.
How much have you noticed the weather changing in that time? You know, the patterns.
Yes.
For example, the springs, you know, people being able to plant earlier.
Yeah, I think the springs have definitely coming a little bit earlier. I've noticed a lot of plants which should be flowering are flowering earlier than they used to do, several weeks, I would say 2 weeks perhaps earlier. Magnolias this year have been magnificent, but they've been flowering quite a lot earlier than we would expect.
OK, Peter, thanks very much for having us down here.
Thank you.
Charlie, Naga, I know, and you know, that I like to play a little game when we're out and about. So very quickly, I've got my shopping trolley, and I want to test your knowledge of whether you can spot the indoor plants and the outdoor plants. We're playing garden in or garden out. So, Charlie, why don't you start us off? This one here is a codium. Is that an indoor or an outdoor plant?
That's an outdoor plant, Ben. It's an outdoor plant.
Well, no, it's not, I'm afraid. It's an indoor plant.
Not always. I think
Naga, do you want to see if
sometimes,
you can do any better?
Ben, to be
How's
technical,
this
sometimes I
one?
think it's indoors or outdoors.
No, Charlie, just accept the answer. That is an outdoor plant, Ben.
Oh, Naga, no, it's an indoor plant as well.
No, it's not. I've seen them
Charlie,
in
can
gardens.
you redeem yourself with this one, Primula. Sorry, not so Primula, Begonia. Begonia, that one.
Well, look, what is it? How can I answer the question if I don't know what it is? Which is it?
It's a Begonia.
So the begonia is an indoor plant.
It's outdoor.
Begonia is an outdoor plant, Charlie. No points yet. Naga, can you salvage this? The primula, indoor or outdoor?
Well, I'm just going to go on the fact that we've had 2 indoor and 1 outdoor, so I'm going to go outdoor.
Well, that's a good logic. And yes, you've scored the only point this morning. Well done, green-fingered goddess of the garden centre. Charlie, a little consolation prize for you. Get some reading done, and maybe next time you'll do a little better.
Thanks, Ben. It's always good to have advice, isn't it, Charlie? It's always good to have helpful advice, Charlie.
Let's find out more. We can speak to Karen, who works here, busily arranging the plants, but also a gardening advisor. Karen, what should people be doing or not doing because of the wet weather at the moment?
OK, so basically you can start putting your broad beans straight into the ground if you want to. They will take a little bit longer to come through because, of course, the colder weather and the wet weather. And if you want to bring them on indoors and other sort of things like bedding and things like that, ready to go out, bedding is an annual and they don't like the cold, so it's still a little bit too wet and cold to put them out. But you can have them indoors on windowsills, greenhouses, conservatories or porches and put them out at the end of April, beginning of May. But really, your broad beans should be planted.
OK, so that's what we should be doing. What about things we should not be doing or perhaps delaying because of the rainy weather?
If you go for Mediterranean herbs, they will struggle in this sort of wet weather. They don't mind the cold, but they like free draining soil. But if it's very cloggy and wet, stay off from the Mediterranean herbs.
How long have you been working in garden centres and horticulture for?
43 years.
43 years. What changes have you seen over that time in terms of our habits as shoppers and customers and amateur gardeners?
So much. It's unbelievable, really, because when I first started, it was all market gardens and little shops. And then in the 70s, we went into the garden centres, which was a massive eye-opener and just fantastic place to be in because it's vibrant, things move, customers just come for the full day because it's a destination centre as well.
Do we still have an appetite for gardening as a nation?
Absolutely. Well, that'll never go.
OK, not a single shred of doubt in your mind. Karen, thank you very much indeed, and thanks for having us down here this morning.
Thank you.
I have to say, these garden centres, they do hedge their bets, pardon the pun, to make sure that they can still survive even if we're not buying outdoor plants. And we are just up the road from Aintree, Naga, Charlie, and if you're on your way and you were lacking a hat, you can even pick one up on the way. On your way to the Grand National. I think it would look rather good for you, Naga. And I didn't want Charlie to feel left out, so I've picked something out for him as well. If you're worried about the wet weather, Charlie, I think those would look rather fetching on you, those wellies.
Ben, we need to spend more time together so you can get to know us a bit better, I think. That's my thinking.
OK, the other way round. You want the wellies, Charlie wants the hat.
There you go.
Also, Ben, I can't tell what the hat looks like until it's on someone's head, can I? I can't tell until it's on someone's head.
Oh, go on. You're asking me to model, are you? There we go. There we go.
It's ridiculous. You wear it well. I wish I could say to Ben. I know Sarah's been wearing her hat well. Sorry, Ben. Thanks.